I'm filming outside today. Please forgive the extra noise. Hey students. So the other day we took a look at a photo poem, which is a poem that not only captures what is seen in the photograph, but captures the emotions and the story behind the photograph. And you will be writing your own photo poem in class. Well, today you are going to actually start drafting your photo poem about that picture that is meaningful to you. But you might be thinking, Mr. Lohmann, where do I start? Well, I have created a rubric that goes through all the different things that you should be looking to include in your photo poem, and it's also what I'll eventually use to grade your final product. So let's take a look at what you should include. When you open up the rubric that is on Canvas for you, the first thing you will see listed there is the title. You should try to have a strong title for your poem. Something hopefully a little bit more creative than Photograph 1962, like the example we looked at. Don't try to start by coming up with your title before you even have written the poem. Write your poem first, and I think the title will then kind of write its own self, if that makes sense. Up next is the length of your poem. You should try to aim for at least 20 lines, which is enough to where you can add a lot of good detail about what you see in the photograph, as well as giving those details about what's happening beyond or around that moment when that photograph was taken. Any less than 20, and I feel like you'd start missing out on some of those really good details. But of course, you are welcome to add more than 20 lines, but 20 lines is at least a good place to start. Aside from the formatting stuff, let's get into the content of the poem itself. First of all, you will see listed there that your poem should be accompanied by the photograph you are writing about. So both of them will be side by side, just like the example we looked at in class. Up next are the details. Now, like I said before, a really good photo poem does include details about what is seen in the photograph. But that's not what makes it a really good photo poem. What takes it to that next level is adding in those details about what is going on beyond the photograph. What's the story behind the moment that is captured in the picture? So aim to include both of those kinds of details, what you see physically and what you can't see in the picture. That leads us to talking about imagery. When you are writing down all those details surrounding this photograph, try to appeal to the five senses. It'll obviously be pretty easy to write some details that appeal to the sense of sight because you're just talking about what you can see in the photograph, but try to think outside the box. What are the smells? What are the sounds, the tastes, the textures? Including those is going to make your poem so awesome. Another thing you should aim to include in your poem are bits of figurative language or other literary elements, such as similes, metaphors, personification, alliteration, repetition for effect, all those things. It's going to take your writing and really elevate it from just writing about a picture to actually making it a poem about a picture. Now, when we're talking about playing with language, when it comes to imagery and figurative language, with that comes strong word choice. Really try to use the strongest, most accurate word possible to describe things. Instead of using words like nice or happy or sad, right? Really try to capture what is the best word I could use to describe an emotion or to describe an object that's in the picture. The more exact you are with your language, the better your poem will be. And lastly, in terms of the content of the poem itself, is something I call show, don't tell. No, not show and tell. Show, don't tell. Really good authors are able to show their reader what to see or show them what to feel, as opposed to just directly telling them how to feel or telling them what to see. For example, if I were to say to you, I'm mad, that doesn't do a whole lot for you. Yeah, I'm saying the words that I'm mad, but I'm not showing to you that I'm mad. Rather, I could pick my phone up and I could toss it across the way, or I could just get really red in the face and grit my teeth, and I don't have to say I'm mad. You can see clearly that I am angry, okay? Try to do that same thing, but with your words. Show the reader the emotions. Show your reader what to see as opposed to just telling them directly. Lastly, and probably this will be one of the very last steps we will focus on, is the editing. Making sure that your final product that you will eventually submit to me is a polished piece of writing, something that you have looked over a few times and something that you've had a peer look over, so that way you can catch any little grammar, spelling mistakes, things like that. We will have time in class to do those things, but we're really not at that point yet because we are only just getting into drafting. So with all that said, today you are just focusing on starting the draft of your poem. So as you're doing that, just focus on that middle section of the rubric, the content. Try to just capture those details of what you see in the photograph, the story that's beyond the photograph, and make use of some imagery, some figurative language, some strong word choice, and try to show the reader as opposed to telling the reader what to see and what to feel. Okay? Again, we're just in the drafting phase, and eventually we'll get to the point where we can do some peer review and really tighten up your writing. But today, just start getting your ideas down. Play with this poem and play with the words and see what you can come up with. If you have any questions about anything, I am still reachable through email. Just shoot me a message in Canvas and I'll try to help out the best that I can. But take it upon yourself today to see what you can do. All right? See you next time.